Gotta love it. Greetings and welcome to another episode of Q Points Podcast. I'm DJ Sir Daniel.
And my name is J. Ray, sometimes known by my government as Johnny Ray Cornegay III. I have a cold, Sir Daniel.
I was gonna say, what is this bedroom voice? What are we doing here? Are we
I
trying
gotta
to
give it to the
attract a whole
people.
different?
Yes.
We're trying to attract a whole different audience now.
We want the Quiet Storm audience should be listening to Q Points. Welcome to Q Points.
Shout out to brother Melvin.
Lindsay.
Yes, for pioneering the Quiet Storm, and to J. Ray, Johnny Ray Cornegay III, picking up the mantle and doing his thing on this episode. J. Ray, I gotta say though, we're about to get into it, but before we get into the discussion at hand, I just gotta say, between this administration wanting to erase, Black history and Black culture, and the antics of said Black culture keepers and creators, I feel like the future of specifically Black music and the heritage of Black music is in clear and immediate danger because of the things that we're about to discuss during this episode.
That's fair. That's fair, but I also think that's why we exist. And that's why we need to have this conversation, because we are going to right this ship over here in Q Points land. But I agree with you. I think if we let things slide the way things have been going, we are in danger of, one, losing all the recipes. Of course, we have to talk about the fact that the Diddy documentary happened. So both Sir Daniel and I watched Sean Combs' The Reckoning. And what was very, and we've said this on the show, but the documentary did a wonderful job of weaving together, Sir Daniel, what is essentially our teenage years, right? The years that we kind of were formulating, our gaining our musical knowledge, formulating our tastes, and all of these things were the same years that Sean Combs was kind of ascending into his business career, his music career, etc. And this documentary does a really good job of blending conspiracy with truth. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you gotta say that, yes.
It's like a little bit of, I see what you're doing there. We don't know that that's factual. It's a thing a lot of people say, but I guess that is the mark of a good documentary, is that you have to suck the people in. And sometimes you have to suck the people in with what the people be thinking.
Right. And yes to everything that you said. Documentaries, and we all know I love a good documentary. Documentaries also have to be entertaining.
They do.
They have to be entertaining, and fact or fiction, sometimes a lie. And Charlemagne the God has always said this: fact or fiction, a lie is always almost more entertaining than the truth. Yeah. So with that being said, I gotta say that yes, I agree that the documentary itself was well put together. I found it very fascinating, and you found it fascinating as well, that the documentarian, including the executive producer, Curtis, did a miraculous job of finding all of this footage and literally having the subject tell this whole story, tell on himself, basically, with their own footage, which I thought was very wild. And as we're seeing in the past few days, that a lot of cease and desists are coming out. A lot of you don't have my permission talk is happening, and a lot of people are upset about being included in this documentary. And we'll get to that part later on in the conversation, because 50 Cent is part of the bigger conversation that we're having here, and it's kind of ridiculous. So I will say, I was not pressed to see this documentary at first, Jerry, only because to this date, J. Ray, there are close to 10 docuseries already about or dedicated to deconstructing the life and career of Sean Diddy Combs.
Mhm.
There's almost 10 of them already. It's kind of like the when the R. Kelly mixtapes dropped.
The R. Kelly
Called the
mixtape.
mixtape. You know, there just seems to be another one popping up. Everybody is chopping at the bit to tell this story.
Mhm.
And I mean, at first I was like, there's not a whole lot here that I can learn or that I'm going to glean from this. But I did find, first thing I want to say, Sean Combs, when you find those children and be like, that's not a good looking kid, but maybe when they grow into their face or they grow into their looks, he's definitely one of those people, because those the early years when he was dancing in the Stacey Lattisaw video and whatnot, it was like he was so skinny.
Yeah.
And that face it almost looked cartoon.
Yeah. Yeah.
To see how he's grown into the face that he has now, and to grow into the body that he has now. It was kind of weird, but it's so funny it's just one of those things. I was like, that was not a good looking young man when he was on the come up.
So I think this is actually a very interesting point, and I loved. So going back, I didn't watch any of the other documentaries. I don't know why, but you know why? I do know why, because I felt like they was too soon. I was like, I felt like all of these other documentaries came out and it was really too soon. And I was like, I'm just going to avoid it. So I never saw any of them, like none of them. Right. So what I found interesting, to the point of talking about the look, and I think it was Kirk Burroughs who talked about this, who was like, no. Like, I watched Sean be made into cool. Right?
Yes.
Because, you know, he had the drive. Clearly, if there's one thing we know about Diddy, is that he's always had the drive to be like a businessman and has always wanted to be in front of the camera. God bless him. That man has never met a camera he ain't want to be in front of. But he was also kind of a dork. You know what I mean? He was also kind of a dork.
Totally.
And so to study, to watch Diddy in that era, that Stacey Lattisaw video, it was hilarious. To watch him go from that to be a little cooler in the Vanessa Sinquist video, to be like a little cooler by the time he starts hosting these parties, where you're like incrementally getting cooler. And I feel like the weird part that you're seeing is Diddy is picking up pieces from people as he goes along. So as he's moving, he's picking up pieces.
I am so glad you said that, because it made me think of this theory of that there's an old Angelina Jolie movie where she plays a detective or something, and she's chasing down the serial killer, and she calls him a hermit crab. And the reason why she calls him a hermit crab is that he just what a hermit crab does, it always sheds its shell.
Yes.
And it's always looking for something something new to put his body
armor, right?
Some armor to put onto it. And that is exactly what Sean Combs is. Sean Combs is one of those personality types that likes to take on, he sees something and he covets it, and he wants to be it so bad to the point where he will take on the characteristics and become the thing that he covets. And so, two things. Mommy issues, I don't think it can cover or describe what that young man has. Mommy issues does not does not pay any justice. And two, I think that when you take on other people's personalities just so that you can take what they have, that's a different kind of monster. Because that's the thing that jumped out. Thank you, Debaucheries in the chat. It's called Taking Lives. That's exactly the name of the movie. When you do that, he went so far as not only did he want your life to be you and to have your essence, right? I'll be sure.
Yeah.
He wanted to take something that you prized, that was a prized possession of yours, which was King Porter. And if nothing else, Diddy may not have ever been the best rapper. He may have platinum albums and those things to his accolades, but the one thing that Diddy has mastered, he is the master of the dirty macking. Diddy is the master of dirty macking. He will get close to you just so that he can take your girl, marry her, impregnate her, and keep her locked away, because he is that needy. He is that needy. He is that big of a gaping hole. I almost said pause there. But he has that much.
Less for later.
That's later. He is that much of a gaping hole in his soul that he needs to fill it with people, with and coveting the things that they already have, and the accolades. That's the one. That's the main thing that I took away from this documentary, and we see what it has done to him, what that personality disorder, because I feel like it's a personality disorder, has done to him.
I agree. I think so. A couple of things I want to mention here. Shout out to the director. Her name is Alex Stapleton. I believe it's Alexandra Stapleton, but she goes by Alex Stapleton. I think Alex and team did a really good job of taking a project that could have been just like salacious for salacious sake, and really did try and add some good foundation into it, to be like, no, we're actually making a movie and talking about how this person existed in all of our lives, because be real, Diddy has been a part of all of our lives since the 90s. You know what I'm saying? And kind of the monster of an industry that fed that ego. So I think Alex definitely deserves some props for that. And I also want to mention that this documentary is also a master class in stuff can be two things. Like Diddy can be like really talented at taking a thing and molding it into something that people would want to buy. He's like, man, like he will see that talent and be like, boom, I can package this thing right here and make it into something, right?
Yes.
Master of that. And also an awful human being. You know what I'm saying? At the exact same. You know, like, and so the other piece of this is I liked that the people who were speaking in this documentary, I don't feel like it was a hit piece. I really did feel like they were actually just speaking from experience. Like, no, this is what happened as I recall it. And this is what this guy was doing as I recall it, right? And we have evidence that it was true. So they were weaving all of the pieces together, like when they was talking about, like, you know, how Diddy learned, according to them, how Andre Harrell did the contracts over at Uptown. And they was like, oh no, Diddy took that and did it even tighter than that. Was like, you are never going to figure out where the money is, how your money got spent, none of that. Like, he tightened all of that stuff up. And I'm like, damn, like, but then you realize Diddy was learning from the OGs, the Russell Simmonses, the Andre Harrell, the OG predators. You know what I mean?
I mean, we've said, we have conceded that even with the growth of this culture, as we talk about hip hop, with growth comes the commercial part, the money aspect, and with the money aspect comes a lot of filth, a lot of grimy characters and grimy behavior. And time has shown us that a lot of these people, yes, we got to see them in the limelight, and they presented a lot of, champagne wishes and caviar dreams. However, they were monsters in the background, but they learned it from the other monsters that have been in control of the music industry for, for years, for decades. And so what we, and so you kind of can't be mad at it because that is the game. But yes, you can be mad at it because these are people that you have soul dreams to, that are naturally gifted, and you're exploiting their gifts because you realize what it can mean for you in the future.
Yeah.
But again, that is the nature of the business. So now, you mentioned Andre Harrell, you mentioned Russell Simmons. I was taken aback because I want to acknowledge Joy Dickerson Neal.
That was wow, that segment.
That segment was really was eye opening, because I recognized when I saw the Steady B album cover, I was like, oh, that is her.
Yeah.
And then J. Ray, when they flashed to the Finesse and Quiz video, I was like, that's her from the Cabriolet, riding around with Diddy with the big white Applejack hat on. But I gotta pause 1 second to shout out Finesse and Quiz. The title of that song for that video was Straight from the Soul.
Right.
That bar where Joy Dickerson shows up, if you listen to the lyrics, I would love to ask them, it was like, did Diddy inspire those lyrics? Because you all are clearly talking about him, even though at that time, as everybody said, Diddy was not into drugs, he was not into alcohol, all of those things. He kept all of those demons away from him. He was not into that. But that lyric of you can't talk positive and do the opposite, sniff and snort, drink and drive, and have your sister strip. And I was like, they weren't maybe describing him then, but they were seeing into the future, because that is exactly what he became. If you all need to hear that song, I'm sure you can pull it up on YouTube. I thought that was just so ironic and telling, and very futuristic on the behalf of Finesse and Quiz, to make that rhyme, and for him to be to have a cameo in the video for that particular bar was just, it was not lost on me. It might have went over some of y'all heads, but you know me, I'm the female rap historian, so those things definitely stood out to me with regards to this docuseries. And Joy Dickerson was like one of the first, not the first, but she clearly was one of the victims of the beginning of revenge porn.
Yeah, exactly.
What we saw, because what we saw is we know that the reason why we have this documentary is that Diddy documents everything with videos. There are videos everywhere. There's somebody with a camera rolling at all times, and that was happening way back in the late 80s, early 90s. So I can only imagine. I don't think it's not hard to imagine that he was in fact recording people having sex, because again, they tied the two together again. Alpo, who was a Harlem legend, drug dealer, like they said, Alpo would record sex sessions between him and other girls and would play them in public. And Diddy wants so bad to have the clout. The kids call it clout chasing now. He wanted that clout and that kind of reputation, so he would start doing the same things. So it's like, you know what? You sold me on that one. I can believe this theory.
And so going back, Kimberly, you mentioned before, like, are y'all going to make me want to go see this documentary? And this is why I actually think this documentary is particularly interesting, and why I think Alex and team deserve kudos. Because they take these pieces of 80s and 90s Black history, New York history, right? and weave them together in ways to explain, potentially, right? The theories, potentially explain why Diddy was doing some of the things that he was doing. So coming with all the stuff from the history, we talk about the mom stuff, right? Coming with all of that, the looming a ghost of his father, right? And trying to live up to whatever that legacy was, and we don't even know what the truth of that is, right? But trying to live up to that, the mommy stuff, and the wanting to be cool, the wanting to be accepted, the clout chaser nature of who he is, it's all in here. And here's what's crazy about that too is I'm watching this documentary and I'm watching Diddy in present day. Cause one, can we just take a minute and say how I was about to say pause? Can we just take a minute and say how crazy it is that he would be documenting all of this?
Right, because
it's so crazy though.
It's crazy, but he believes so much in himself and that he hasn't done anything wrong. I haven't done anything wrong. I'm just a kid from Harlem that pulled myself up by my bootstraps. I haven't done anything wrong, and this is going and I'm gonna be proven innocent, and I'm gonna be victorious as I always come out victorious in these situations.
Yeah. Yes. I'm so confused. Like, I was literally confused. Like, how? So it makes me, to that point, yes, Sir Daniel, you are absolutely right. And it makes me question the type of person who would do that. And I don't know what that diagnosis is. I ain't sitting in that man's therapy sessions, but I'm like, what kind of person would record all of this happening to that point?
An apex predator.
Oh my God. You know what was disappointing to me? Watching his boy children, who are now young men, they're next to him. This is their father, who's clearly not in a good state. Like, there's pieces of this documentary, he's clearly high. He's shuffling around this hotel room like Ozzy Osbourne, like slurring his words. And his, you have Justin and Christian, King Holmes. King Holmes is Christian, I think. You have them kind of in the space with him. And I'm like, one, I don't know why your sons are your best friends. I don't understand that. And two, why I would not. I loved my dad, loved him. We didn't hang out. We might on occasion go out, but we didn't hang out. You know what I'm saying? Like, we wasn't at the same spots. You know what I mean? Especially doing the things that Diddy is doing. And there were so many moments where people would be like, oh, Justin and Diddy were in there. And I'm like, in there? We're doing what? Like, no.
Well, again, going back to what I said in the beginning, what we saw, what is documented, is that there were clear boundary issues in his upbringing between him and his parent. His allegedly his mom exposed him to whatever hustler lifestyle she was doing, because clearly she had a lifestyle that she wanted to maintain.
Yep.
And even in after the murder of his father, she was maintaining that lifestyle. And then she was doing things to confuse. Those things confuse children when they're growing up. When you assign them adult roles at a very young age, those things can confuse you, and you start to think that, yes, I am an adult, and that there are no boundaries between adults and children. And then, so that's what you're seeing now, is that he has always had a hard time with boundaries. That's when I don't think boundaries and Sean Combs can exist in the same sentence. Like, and that's the thing that everybody has in common with him, is that he always violates boundaries. And so he's violated the boundaries between parents and children. So it doesn't shock me that you see him rolling up and passing the joint to his sons. You know, even though some might say that's not really a big deal, I drink with my dad and I smoke with my
I
dad
mean,
and whatnot. Fine, but
to a degree, yeah.
yeah, I'm not gonna argue with you on that. However, when it comes to allegedly, um, you know,
Pew
engaging
pewing
in
and
sexual activity with
yes,
your dad, and those are the things. That is sexual assault.
Mhm.
That is, if you were, no, I'm not going to use that word, but that is a sexual assault on your child when you do those things. And again, you confuse them about those boundaries, and I can guarantee you that those children in a couple years, I think those two in
those two in
particular,
particular.
are something is going to come up in the future where they're going to get accused
One
of
already has. Christian
violating.
already has.
That is true. Not Wait,
Yeah, the
Christian or
King
Justin?
Kong,
Both of
the
them.
King Kong. Oh, I
Actually,
think both
both of
of them.
them.
I think actually both
Because
of them.
Justin was well on his way to having a football career, but
Uh-huh.
that got sidetracked because he wanted to be Billy Badass and he got into an altercation, and you see he is not playing football
He
anywhere
ain't doing
anymore for
nothing.
anybody. He's
What talent do these kids have?
being a Combs, being daddy's little henchman.
They're a Combs, Jay.
Hey, chef.
They're Combs. They're part of the they're part of the honeycombs. Honeycomb
Oh,
hideout.
Jaguar, right? So,
you know,
to this point, actually, the other thing about this documentary that I think is really interesting, people. This is part of the reason why this show is titled what it is like grow to F up, because people have made a lot of jokes about the gay stuff, but I'm like, you look at this documentary and you realize like that is really a non-factor in this conversation. Actually, it means nothing to the grand scheme of things that are going on. I think it may have come up like a little bit with the Kirk Burrows sharing his story, but
and don't forget Lil Rod.
It came up with the Lil Rod, but really not at all. So people making a big deal out of it was so dumb, because I'm like, what we've been saying is that's not even a big deal.
It's not. It's really because if you understand what is behind sexual assault is not about pleasure or gratification. No. It is strictly about power
and control.
Mm-hmm. And control. Sean Diddy Combs has always been about asserting power and control, and he is going to use whatever tactic is most is available right there and then to do it with. And if that means he's going to, pull down your pants and drug you, pull down your pants and do something to you while you are inebriated, he's going to do that because he's got it recorded, because he's going to hold that over your head.
Jesus
he's
Christ.
Not above doing any of those things because he wants to exert power and control. So it really has absolutely nothing to do with sex and sexuality. There's nothing romantic about anything that he's done. And before we move on to that section, J. Ray, because I know where we're going with this, mm-hmm. I do want to say we talked about the whole Cassie situation, and the one thing that resonated with me throughout this whole thing is when Cassie ran into Kalina backstage at that Bad Boy reunion, and Kalina was pregnant, and Cassie was like, "See, that's what I'm talking about. That is what I want. I want that." Cassie wanted desperately to be a mother.
Yes.
And I had always said, J. Ray, when we had no idea what was going on, I just kept saying to myself, I really can't believe that he has not knocked her up. Like
he'd like walk past a woman and she pregnant.
And they get pregnant. Twins. He has the capacity to have twins and everything. And I said, he never got her pregnant. And all that said, that was divine intervention. To me, that was completely divine intervention, because as soon as she was free from that man and got married and got into a safe and loving relationship, boom, pregnant,
babies,
right off the rip. I was like, you can't tell me that that wasn't divine intervention. So, you know, I just, and one other thing that we have to talk about that was very made implicit with this docuseries is the willingness of people at all eras of his career, the willingness of people to go along with what's happening and turn a blind eye, because I guess there's this hypnosis that comes along with being in the proximity of power or perceived power that a lot of people have. And I've seen it in person. J. Ray, such a great example. There's a legendary radio announcer here in Atlanta that was present at an event that Diddy used to have called Think Big.
Mm-hmm.
And Diddy, of course, was being real Hollywood and did not show up to the event when he said he was. He was fashionably late. This legendary radio announcer did the thing, made his announcements, and was like, looked at his watch and was like, Diddy don't know who he dealing with. I run Atlanta. I'm about to be out of here. I got things to do. But he literally was told everybody, I will see you all later.
Yes.
And started walking to his car. Don't you know when those limos pulled up, like it was a scene out of Coming to America, when the limo pulled up, that grown man made a beeline from his car way off in the parking lot and pumped on back over to where we were when he saw Sean Diddy Combs come out, and hopped in there and was,
Diddy in the building.
Hey, y'all, Diddy in the building. And remember that scene in Waiting to Exhale when Robin came through with that crackhead to the party with all the white people?
Yes.
That's how he was acting when Diddy showed up. And he was just all over the place. Like, I mean, it was really fascinating to witness in real time what star power, and I'm putting up air quotes, can make people do. But I said all of that to say that the proximity to power is super dangerous. I guess it's very intoxicating and will have people doing things that they wouldn't necessarily do, because we hear things about this current administration that people, for whatever reason, when they get into this current president's area, when they get around him, they, for whatever reason, they start kowtowing to him, and it's embarrassing from what I understand, and they start they feel like, I'm going to get some power just being in your presence. And I said all that to say that is such a dangerous thing, because so many people got hurt, because so many people turned a blind eye and saw things that happened and were too scared or didn't feel like they had enough power to do anything, which continued to make this monster grow to be the person he is.
You know what? That is actually a perfect segue into, I think this is a good place to talk about 50 Cent. So 2 things. First thing is, I hate that white people call him 50 Cent. I think that's stupid, okay? They keep doing it. And we're here with 50 Cent. That is not it. It's just 50 Cent. It's fine.
That's right up there with calling Atlanta ATL.
ATL or Hotlanta. So that's thing number 1. Mm-hmm. Thing number 2 is there's 50 is not a benevolent figure. You know what I'm saying? Like,
by any means.
By any means. And I think it's wild. So when you talk about feeding a monster, right? It is crazy to know that this man made this documentary because he could, but more importantly, he made it because he really hates Diddy. Like, he just is like, listen, I not only have the power to do this, I have the desire to do this. And that is weird to have that kind of desire fed. Even though Alex did a great job with creating this, I think they took a subject that could have been salacious and made it into something that is compelling. But you know the man did this because he hates him.
At the root of it all, this man, I mean, Petty doesn't begin to encapsulate Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. And I mean, he is self-proclaimed petty, the king of petty. He does not mind saying that he is petty. And he told us years ago that if we got beef, we got beef forever. It's up and it's stuck. Because that's a great that is a great point. Kiriako said that 50 low-key should be called the finisher with how he buries careers. It becomes his job to make sure that you are penniless, with no friends, with not even a shirt on your back. It is his job. Now, us, Q Points, started off this conversation about the documentary because it's in the zeitgeist and it's stuff that we needed to discuss. But as you said, at the root of it all, this all has come about because of homophobia.
Absolutely.
And perceived this homophobia on the part of Curtis because he perceived that Diddy was inviting him wanted to take him on a shopping spree. Something that happened maybe 20 years ago.
Long time.
A very long time ago. We know that was Sean being serious? Probably that he would, because that's what, yes, he is a predator, and yes, he does that as part of his grooming. He does do those things to get you to gain your confidence and to make you feel comfortable, to let your guard down. Yes. Perceived, but not perceived, but the perceived sexuality part of it all. He still to this day at his grown age uses the term fruity to describe
really?
Yes, he was on a Good Morning America and used the term fruity.
I didn't know people were still using the term fruity. Okay.
Curtis Jackson sat up there in front of Robin. What's her name? Robin
Roberts.
Robin Roberts, and called that man fruity on national television, daytime television at that.
Okay.
And so, right. So we're talking about 2 decades of a perceived comment, because really I think this is more of a perceived attack on his sexuality, meaning that
Shanique was in, he doth protest too much.
Exactly. It's like 50 was like, well, what makes you think that you can say that to me? Am I giving off something that makes you think that you can trick on me, and you could take me out to dinner and go and take me to VIM and go shopping for new sneakers? You know, those. So he overthought that. First of all, he overthought that. First of all, I'm sure. Do you know how many people Diddy has taken shopping? Dudes, like, I'm sure he's taking the Clip shopping. He's taking all of those Pharrell. He's taking all of those boys, all of those guys shopping. And they ain't say a word about it. They got those Louis Vuitton fanny packs and hit it. They got what they needed and bounced. But that internalized homophobia got Curtis in a chokehold and made him sink all of this money into putting together this documentary. And that's why part of the reason why we say, seriously, y'all have got to grow the bleep up.
Yes.
Because it's not just 50. There is this ongoing, the grown men that are supposed to be the elder statesmen of hip hop right now are just so disappointing. They are disappointing me from left to right, from all angles. The ones that now have podcasts, they are all disappointing me with these very stunted, emotionally immature hot takes and behaviors that is just taking over their lives and is influencing the lives of a lot of young men that are watching them. So if you want to fight it, you have to support the people that are putting together the quality content that you want to see, the quality content that you want to share with the young people in your lives that you feel could benefit from it. It's not going to happen by osmosis. You're going to have to say, hey, you're going to have to be active and actively say, I'm going to actively subscribe to this podcast because this brother is kicking knowledge.
Yes.
Thank God for somebody like a Deontay Kyle right now, who is
Yes.
as a heterosexual man who is really taking other heterosexual men to task and holding them accountable.
Yes.
And is like and is not letting up off their throats, off their necks, is just pause. Is just really what's needed right now.
Right.
And I'm so happy for it. And we just need more of that. And we need to be more supportive of people like the Grits and Eggs podcast and
Grits
Q
and Eggs,
Points.
waving the red, yes, Q Points and waving the red flag, and Dr. Ed Garns and Sweet Tea Ethics, and just like all of these platforms. The Counter Narrative Project in CNP, all fairness, like I work there, but still. Even just thinking about the event that we had tonight, a Black Man Reading and Charles Stevens and Doug Jones in conversation about Doug Jones's book. So we got this straight brother in conversation with these queer brothers about this book that has these gay characters and really talking about the stuff and really having conversations back and forth, right? These are what we need to do. And so thank you, Sir Daniel, for reminding all of us that support the things that feed you, right? Share the things that feed you with other people, because that's the only way that these platforms grow. And so for y'all, unless you have something else you want to cover, I want to tell the people how they can support us, Sir Daniel. What else you would?
Oh, the only thing I want to do really quickly is, speaking of supporting and feeding the things that will feed us, I wanted to give a shout out to our friend Mashawn D. Simon.
Yay!
Who has just recently released his book.
It is Faith Deconstruction for Dummies.
Deconstruction for Dummies. Absolutely. Yes. Faith Deconstruction for Dummies. It is, if religion and dogma has caused you some type of hurt, or even you just have questions about religion and how it's being handled, and you're starting to notice how white supremacy is playing a role in your Black life right now. When it comes to religion, that's the book for you. I'm super proud of him. It's out there on Amazon and all the other platforms that you can purchase books. I can't wait to see this live Q&A that he's going to have next week. So I'm super proud of him. If it's a great book to support, and this is a great brother to support as well. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Great holiday gifts. Absolutely. You know what? Think about that. So this holiday season, because let me tell y'all something, I'm being real clear about the holiday. I already told my mom and my brother this. It's going to be real light. Because baby, I ain't giving these people, I ain't giving them nothing. Like I'm not giving y'all too much. I'm just not giving y'all my coins.
Let me say this too, J. Ray.
Please.
We sat up there, everybody was talking about something. Yeah, man, Black Friday, we ain't doing none of that. We ain't buying nothing. We not going to Target. We not doing this. We not buying that. We staying home. $8 trillion later, somebody's lying.
Somebody is
lying. Y'all went out. Somebody went out shopping. Somebody was sitting on that line outside waiting for that quote unquote gift bag with $100 worth of merchandise, and all you got was a pack of playing cards and some chapstick.
Right.
Yeah, you got played. But yes, $8 trillion later, J. Ray, somebody lying. But we're gonna hold ourselves accountable and
hold ourselves accountable. Listen, so to that point, shop brands that also support the community. So to that point, y'all, thank y'all so much for being here with us. One of the things that you could do for absolutely free for Q Points is actually just share the show. So wherever you are tuning in, subscribe first of all, and then share the show. Friends, family, colleagues, everybody. Let people know that you listen to Q Points. We really appreciate it. Shaniqua, shout out this week. We loved seeing the fact that, we were in your Spotify top podcast. We love that. We appreciate that. It is absolutely free, y'all, to support us in that way. You know what I'm saying? Visit qpoints.com. Watch the whole archive of episodes there. There's plenty of stuff to check out. Visit us on Substack. We have some dope stuff over there, including the video. If y'all haven't checked it out, we did a show over on the MPN network for Thanksgiving. It aired on Thanksgiving, but we put it on our podcast feed too. But we talk about Queensbridge as an influential, Marley Marl and Queensbridge specifically as shifting the trajectory of Black music and its impact. So check out that show. Support the MPN network, and definitely just check out our show. And there's a bunch of other dope shows too. But yeah, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Shop Q Points too for the holidays. If you are planning to shop Q Points for the holidays, you want to get those orders in by like December 11th so that you can make sure your thing gets to you by Christmas. If you are shopping for Christmas, make sure it gets there in time. So that's it. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all.
Absolutely. Well, you heard what the man said. You have your marching orders. So what I like to say, after every episode in this life, you have a choice. You can either pick up the needle or you can let the record play. I am DJ Sir Daniel.
And my name is J Ray, y'all.
And this has been Q Points Podcast, dropping the needle on Black music history. We will see you on the next go round. Peace.
Peace, y'all. And pause. And